Listen to the unofficial voice of World Cup 2006, brought to you by Times Online and Avalon in association with the Dodge Calibre.
Hello and welcome to Baddiel and Skinner's World Cup podcast.
On today's podcast, we discover the American actor who's got a personal grudge against one of the World Cup teams.
We'll be speaking to our Polish cleaning ladies about the upcoming match against Germany.
Frank is going to tell us about his terrible struggle with Tourette syndrome.
And we'll explain why... I'm joking. And we'll explain why Dave features prominently in every World Cup game.
Oh, get a glass of water for him.
Sound like I need some catnip.
Hello, Mick McCarthy here. I was at the last World Cup, but the captain didn't like the colour of his duvet cover, so we went home and that messed things up. He wouldn't come back till I got the sack, so he sort of got me fired. Imagine how sad I felt today when I read Roy Keane's retired. He's gone, Roy Keane is gone. Thank you so much, Roy, for being such fun. He'd give you that stare and your blood turned to ice. A really fine player, but not very nice. Bring out the laurel wreaths, bring out the garlands. Oh, don't worry about me and Alfinger Haaland. Just praise the great man, champagne toast you must sip. And I'll throw away that voodoo doll with a pin in the hip. Gone, Roy Keane has gone. He walked his dogs while we slaved in the Japanese sun. Everyone's sad and we'll miss him so madly. I hope he tries management and does really badly. He'd give you that stare and your blood turned to ice. Really fine player, but not very nice.
So here we are, Peter Roach's hotel room.
Still in Frankfurt.
Still in Frankfurt, yeah. And it's hot still, isn't it? Still a very hot day.
I think it's 30 degrees or something.
Yeah.
We have actually got water for this, but the England players, do people still take salt tablets if they get...
Well, yeah, when we were watching the game, you said to me that, well, if they haven't got water, they could always take salt tablets. Now, I think that's something you've picked up from It Ain't Half Hot, Mum.
No,
I don't think they do that anymore.
They used to, though. I'm sure, like...
Yeah, in Burma during the war.
No, footballers.
I don't think they do anymore. I think you just have to drink water, I think, instead of anything else to try and do it. But then FIFA was stopping them from doing that.
Yeah, but the England players, they had stuff in plastic bottles, which I think was one of those isotonic drinks, like John Barnes
used to advertise. Yeah, it replaces, I believe, 70% of your natural body fluids. Is that right?
There you go.
So I always used to say to you when we used to live at home that John Barnes had a voice like someone banging on metal. Do you remember that?
Very quickly banging on metal.
Yeah, and that's what I got. That was when I first heard that voice.
Yeah, it's kind of like honestly.
Yeah.
What they lost a lot of weight, didn't they, Roachy, the players?
Well, they lost between 5 and 10 pounds in weight.
That's nothing to Michael Owen. He can lose £800,000 in a weekend.
That's true, but I would have thought Peter Crouch. That's actually only weighs about 3 pounds.
So
if he lost that amount of weight, he'll have
he was just salt.
Yeah, he was just a pile of salt. Might have played better if he was just a pile of salt. FIFA have got very, very up in arms about all this, and people have said FIFA should let them drink water whenever they like. And they've said, oh, no, we care about the players. But I think their real problem was the corporate sponsorship, because as you may or may not know, Coca-Cola is the official soft drink of FIFA. And I think they didn't like the idea that the players were drinking any other drink, including water, apart from Coca-Cola. If they'd had Coca-Cola, I think they'd have been fine with it.
Well, it's very refreshing.
Have you been paid by FIFA, buddy?
No, don't send me any, I'm fine.
It might, it is the case that FIFA have said that they can't have any other drink. No one can sell any other drink or drink any other kind of drink apart from Coca-Cola and Budweiser within 500 metres of the stadium. Now, what worries me about that is apparently that includes milk. Now, if there are any young babies being taken to the grounds, or even just standing or not being held by their mothers near the grounds, does that mean they have to be fed Coca-Cola somehow?
What, their actual breasts?
Yeah, the breast milk has to
they
pump out.
They have to express Coca-Cola.
Yeah, a pregnant mother has to drink about Coca-Cola for 9 months in order to express Coca-Cola when the baby comes out.
Well, It is, after all, the real thing. Is it the real thing? Or is that the other one?
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It is the real
Oh,
thing.
that's,
Yeah.
okay. Harold Larwood, the former England fast bowler from the 1930s, when they used to bring the drinks out, they bring drinks actually onto the pitch on cricket, he insisted he used to have a pint of bitter brought out on a tray.
Did he? Yeah. Well, of course, Bill Werbeneck, the famous snooker player, always used to drink 30 pints before every game.
Yeah. I
Didn't
think Gazza did as well,
Yeah,
didn't he?
Gaza still does. But I was always amazed by that because Bill Werbeneck always said, didn't he, that he needed it medically. That he wasn't, he was a bit nervous unless he had 30 pints.
He got it on prescription.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, I can't really drink more than about a pint and a half without
How
collapsing
nervous
and being
do you
sick.
have to be to need 30 pints? Though?
But how big do you have to be able to drink 30 pints and still win a professional snooker game? It's incredible. What we have found, actually, what has been quite exciting for us, is that we've managed to get hold of one copy of a British newspaper out here, haven't we?
Yeah, because we've been... when you're on holiday and you can't get a newspaper, it's been a bit like that.
Yeah. We've managed to get a copy of Monday's Daily Mail.
Are you I don't know if you're allowed to mention the Daily Mail, as this is the Times
Yeah,
podcast.
but I always hate that in newspapers, whenever they don't refer to other newspapers, like in the Sun, sometimes there's a story which is obviously from the Daily Mirror, and normally they're slagging off the story anyway, but they say there was a story in a down market tabloid, right? As if if they put Daily Mirror, was going to say, oh God, I've never heard of that paper before, I must rush out and buy one. Actually, one thing about that is that we're generally cut off from the experience of being at home, and one of the things about being at home is that, of course, you can see at any point any part of the World Cup you like. Here you can't, and we missed Arjen Robben's goal against for Holland against Serbia and Montenegro, didn't we?
We did.
And it was meant to be a great goal, and I really want to see it, but we just can't. They're just not showing it much on German television. They still don't like the Dutch, I don't think.
Well, we saw a photo of it. This is the close we've got. One bloke left a newspaper. This actually is another English newspaper. This is the Times.
It's the Times. You can mention the Times.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God. It's the Times. I like to think the best newspaper. This is Mondays, so everything arrives late. And on the back there's a picture of Arjen Robben's...
Arjen.
Yes.
Arwen.
Arjen. Is his middle name Tina?
Yeah.
Arjen Robben's goal. And it's a very tiny picture. Basically, it was a left foot, as far as I can tell.
It's a left foot shot, and Arjen Robben, who I've always thought runs like a girl, he's a very, very good footballer, but he runs like a girl with his arms out and sort of skipping a bit, and he appears to be doing that and kicking the ball at the same time.
And it was sunny, and he was in front of the MasterCard
Yeah,
board. That's what we know. That's what we've seen of Arjen Robben's goal.
Yeah, if anyone wants to write or even draw, perhaps, a picture of Arjen Robben's goal and send it to us, sketch a sort of picture, maybe in 4 panels,
Well, I
then
think
that would
a
be great.
beautifully sort of poetic description that we can read out on the show.
Yeah, that would be
basically.
good. Yeah.
Which we could, maybe at the end of it, if people sent in poetic descriptions of goals, we could have a poetic goal of the month competition. But we don't show them; we just describe them.
Doesn't have to be rhyming, free verse.
Oh
if you
no,
like.
no!
You
When
know.
I say poetic, I mean floral prose.
Yeah.
It needn't. It could rhyme.
Yeah.
I don't want to, restrain anyone.
That's a very good idea. So there's been a few things in this copy of the Daily Mail that we did manage to divine about what's going on. There was a very big article.
I can hear it. I can actually hear the Daily Mail.
Yeah, don't mention the Daily Mail too often. Or
No,
they'll
sorry.
cut it out.
I can hear that down market tabloid
And there was one very big article. I'll
that
be with you in a
supported
minute.
Hitler.
It did support Hitler, actually, didn't it? The Daily Mail did support Hitler.
Yeah, but you don't mind reading it now. You're two-faced.
Did the Times support Hitler, though?
Definitely not. Not the Thunderer. Never.
Okay, here we have something about the England footballers' wives. One thing I'm very pleased about is that there's a new footballer's wife has emerged, which is Abigail Clancy, who is, I would say, one of the most attractive, perhaps the most attractive footballer's wife of the moment, and she is going out with Peter Crouch.
Good old Crouchy.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing, isn't it?
No, I'm very pleased about it.
I always said that's the thing for me. Get a bit of celebrity and
Yeah.
a fairly ugly bloke can get an attractive girlfriend.
Yeah. He's done very well. I just wonder if the others, at some level in their hearts, the other footballers are thinking, wait a minute, he is the most freakish looking one amongst us, yet he seems to have the most attractive wife. Something's wrong here. Best not pass to him.
No, but I like, when that thing that you see like in erotic films when a woman starts kissing a bloke naked on the bed and she steadily makes her way down towards oral sex. She'd need a kind of a base camp one, that woman, because it's a long, long journey from the mouth to the nether regions of Peter Crouch.
Well, that might be why Abigail Clancy is with Peter Crouch, because she may have only discovered a small part of him so far. and think that, that's all there is to him, and doesn't realise there's this enormous other bit to him.
Well, he needs to set off with a couple of Sherpas
Yeah.
to go and find out what his knees look like.
So we had a lot of emails about loads of subjects, but particularly about the idea that there should be some new nicknames for members of the England squad. And Joe Jones has sent in quite a few, mainly about Owen Hargreaves, hasn't he?
He said, I reckon Owen Hargreaves should be nicknamed Jack after the superbly charismatic countryman and television presenter. Remember he used to be on
Jack
How?
Hargreaves, we're talking about that, yeah.
He too was renowned for his laid-back approach to his work and would often be pictured sitting back in a comfy chair in his shed, whittling a mermaid out of a piece of beach with his penknife, or sitting motionless on the riverbank waiting for his float to bob under the water. Both examples are adequate descriptions of Owen Hargreaves' approach to the game.
Yeah.
I have to say,
Yeah, we don't agree
since
with this
England
anymore.
Paraguay, I've slightly changed my mind about Owen Hargreaves.
Yeah, well, if Owen Hargreaves is deployed as he was then, with 8 minutes to go, just to basically harry the other team off the ball, then I think that's all right.
Well, I think the secret is, because we spoke to a few Bayern Munich fans who quite rated him, I think the secret about Owen Hargreaves is that he's good in Germany.
Right.
So he's kind of perfect for the World Cup, because
Yeah.
whenever we've played him in any other
Yeah.
country, he hasn't looked great. But here, I think he could turn out to be a star.
Yeah, so he's like Hitler in that respect. Hitler was great in Germany, and then when he tried to move outside of Germany, that's when it all went wrong.
Well, he started well.
Yeah.
What with the Anschluss
The Anschluss,
and
well,
Poland
yeah.
and Czechoslovakia and that.
But once he went a bit further afield,
What if the next World Cup was in Russia?
he was very good at harrying his opponents as well. As well as the emails, we've had a couple of answer phone messages, haven't we? Which is exciting. And just if you want to phone in, what's the phone number, Pete?
And the phone number is 0870 6260 413.
Okay, you can phone in and leave any message.
But leave your name, because this bloke didn't leave
Yeah,
his
this
name.
bloke didn't leave his name, but
What happened, if you remember, is when we flew out here, we mentioned this, I think, a couple of podcasts ago, there was a sudden announcement on the Tannoy system at Heathrow Airport, and it said, thank you for observing that 2-minute silence.
Yeah,
and
we
everyone looked a bit frightened. We hadn't observed any 2-minute silence.
yeah.
And we just didn't know what had happened. But
Yeah.
this bloke, he's worked it out.
Oh, hi, it's Matt here from West Sussex. Just regarding the silence at Heathrow, guys. I work at the airport. I was doing some genuine airport noise to verify my claim. Hang on a sec. I know that could be anything, but that's an aircraft engine, honestly. What happened on Heathrow, you'll probably be not surprised to hear that it wasn't anything particularly mind-blowing, but it was the bloke pressed the wrong button. So that's the mystery solved. Thank you, and enjoy the World Cup, guys. Bye.
Well, that was, I think, Damien from The Omen speaking, as far as I could make out from his voice.
Was it Stavros or Davros who used to work the Daleks?
I don't think he worked for the Daleks. He was king of the Daleks.
He
He
wa-
didn't work for
No,
the
I
Daleks.
think he was on a short-term contract with the Daleks. They were like the BBC. They didn't take it on staff.
I did actually hear his name then. It's Matt from West Sussex. He does actually say it if you listen very carefully. And in case you couldn't hear, what he actually says is that someone at Heathrow, he works at Heathrow, pressed the wrong button on that day and pressed the thank you for that 2-minute silence button.
Oh yeah, that button.
That button, and who knew that was a button? I would have thought if something very serious has happened, they could perhaps stretch to someone saying it live, don't you?
Well, if you had a 2-minute silence, why doesn't the person at the end of it just say thank you very much?
Yeah.
Is
Or-
the button because it might be such an emotional 2-minute silence, the person just is choked?
Well, what I thought it might be is perhaps it's a silence to observe the death of the person who normally does the announcements, and therefore they have to have them on a recorded voice.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It must be that.
Also, is there a button to start the 2-minute silence?
Well, there must be.
Well, there can't be, because they have to say who it's for.
Well, that's true.
So
That's
for
a good point.
Yeah, so if, like, the Duke of Edinburgh died, there must be one with a gap in it, and they'd say, of course, today we've all heard of the very, very sad death of the Duke of Edinburgh, and so we ask you all now to observe a 2-minute silence for the Duke of Edinburgh.
Either that, or there's an enormous mixing desk at Heathrow with the names of every prominent person who might die on it, and they just press that button at the right death.
Or, you could mix them together, like on phone numbers. So if it was the Duke of Edinburgh, it'd say the death of the Duke of Edinburgh. It's good, though. I'm glad he sent it in. That was nice.
Thank you.
Mystery
Matt
solved.
from West Sussex.
Good old Matt.
Well, with me now I have Antony of Antony and the Johnsons. Anthony, I was wondering how you felt about the substitution of Ronaldo late in the Brazil game against Croatia.
Poor Ronaldo, he was so pained, sitting all alone and so overweight.
And there was a moment when a Croatian fan ran on and the game had to be stopped. How did you feel about that?
Oh, that poor soul was so kind to him, and I know he's been torn and ripped and torn by love.
Anthony from Antony and the Johnsons, thank you very much.
Sorry.
Now, another thing that we have managed to pick up about things that are going on at home is that the BBC have tried to show the World Cup, haven't they, on big screens in places like Liverpool and Manchester and London and stuff, haven't they? Hasn't gone quite right.
What, wasn't there a big fight?
Well, what I love about this is the difference between the hopes, the expectations and the reality as described in the newspaper. It says here, in Liverpool, the BBC had planned a family-friendly, no-alcohol environment with enough elbow room to be able to do the crouch, the England strikers' celebratory robotic dance. And then it continues, but frustrated fans among the 3,000-strong crowd hurled beer bottles, cans and other missiles as the game drew to a close. Onlookers said glass rained down on the heads of children and elderly people. The screen was switched off and fans clashed with police. Sorry to laugh. Armed with batons and wielding riot shields.
Oh, there'll always be an England.
Oh, they really hoped it was going to be a lovely family day out. People would do the crouch. It'd be really funny.
I'm glad we're in Germany. It's safer over here, isn't it?
It seems to me they could save a lot of time and money if they put up a big screen on closed-circuit camera and just filmed the hooliganism. Didn't bother with the football at all, just filmed a lot of hooligans arriving, fighting, and then arrested them soon afterwards.
There must be people now in the British police who think maybe taking the passports of those hooligans wasn't such a good idea. Maybe making them go abroad. Let the German police deal with them.
They must have thought the Germans, they'd be fantastic. That's exactly the right people to deal with it, with hooligans.
I went to Oldham once, and they kept us in the ground after the game, and they played the Teddy Bears Picnic.
Did they, to calm you down?
I think the idea was to put us in a kind of a good mood before we left the ground.
Yeah, the thing is, the Teddy Bears Picnic's actually quite a frightening song. If you go down to the woods today, you're in for a big surprise. Yeah, there's a big skinhead there with a bottle.
Well, there used to be a version of that on the terraces. It was... And Jeremy, the Sugar Puffs bear, has bought some boots and cropped his hair. Today's the day that Jeremy joins the skinheads.
How brilliant.
But I'm already bored with the crouch robotic dance.
Well, he's not doing it anymore, have you heard? He's not doing it anymore because he's only going to do it if England win the World Cup. And there was some quote, which I haven't got in front of me.
No, I remember.
Oh, do you remember
he said, it's, at the end of the day, it's not about robotic dancing, it's about scoring goals and winning games.
Yeah, I'm really glad he said that, because I actually thought the World Cup was about robotic dancing until he cleared that up.
I
thought that's what it was.
It was in the 80s, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, what there is in Frankfurt is a very similar big screen. I believe no trouble at it so far.
Thousands of people there, and actually we went down. It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was lovely. We took our little dictaphone that we bought.
Oh, our brand new dictaphone that Rosie doesn't like because the sound quality is not as good as it should be. But I think it's fine.
Yeah.
There's a thing here called the Fan Fest, which you might have seen in the papers. It's basically a massive screen in the middle of the River Main, and it's two-sided, so people sit on both sides of the bank and watch the game. It's Italy-Ghana tonight. It's a little bit reminiscent for me of when they had that whale in the Thames. I went down to see that, and it was a bit like this.
Well, I think what it's a bit like, in all seriousness, something like Glastonbury or something like that. It's like watching football at Glastonbury on the big screen.
Ghana's on the attack, but it's gone wide. I think Ghana's national anthem ought to be the theme from the Rockford Files, which featured James Garner.
Yeah, that's a good idea. How did it go?
I'd love to see him.
Do you think anyone ever left a message for James Garner thinking it was Ghana, the country? And actually the message said, look, I've got some aid for you, and you haven't picked it up, and your corrupt government has rather squandered it.
Yeah, this is Gordon Brown here. About that money you owe me, forget about it.
I've dropped the debt.
Catholic Church here, Ghana. I don't care. No condoms, and that's it.
this is Roman Abramovich, God. I'd like that Michael Essien, if you don't mind.
Italy on the attack again, and I think that the Ghana goalkeeper might be the first truly great black goalkeeper in the world. What do you think?
Well, I think Shaka Hislop might be very pissed off that you said that.
I don't think he's really regarded as world class, though. God bless him.
You're going to say he's not really regarded as black?
No, he's regarded as black, but he's not regarded as world class.
Ian Hislop, I'm thinking of.
No, he's not regarded as black. He's regarded as looking like a pedo.
The thing is, what I like about the idea that people might be phoning James Garner and mistaking him for Garner is eventually James Garner would have to phone the bank and say, oh, no, you completely misunderstood. I'm like an American actor. I'm not Garner. I've never given anyone any problems with that. I don't have the AIDS. I'm fine. Leave me alone. I've got a job to do.
You have to change his answer phone message, you see? Yeah. James Garner here, not Garner, though, in Africa.
I'm really not Garner.
James Garner was Maverick.
See, Maverick? But people might not understand that. They just think that was a character description. He was so Maverick, he was also an African country, they think. That's confusing.
He was a Maverick African state.
Yeah.
He must be getting on there, James Garner.
He must get on. Perhaps we should give him a ring. Hello, is that James Garner? No, this is Garner, the country.
I'm sick of getting calls from James Garner, the actor. Do you think I've got all day to take other people's phone messages? Go away.
I know the rock and files was shit. Goodbye. Well, one match that we watched, didn't we, Frank, was Poland-Ecuador.
Oh, yes.
Which Poland didn't do so well.
Well, we were supporting Poland
Yeah.
because we've both got Polish cleaning ladies.
Yeah, who we love very much.
Yeah.
Mine is Stasha.
And mine is Dorota, and I knew that they'd both be really upset.
They're
about
sisters,
the
we should
result.
say.
They are sisters.
They are sisters.
And in fact, we have them on the line.
We do have them on. Hello, Stasha.
Hello, David.
Hello, Dorota.
Hello.
You see how we've gone straight to our own cleaners, that loyalty. So did you watch the Poland game?
Of course we did.
Yes, I thought you might have. And what did you think about it?
No, we didn't play very well, I'm afraid. We hope to do better on Wednesday with Germany.
And Dorota, did you think anyone played particularly well or particularly badly in the Polish team?
Well, I think Shinurek played very well.
I don't know which one he is. Which one is he?
Which one he's a forward player.
Right, okay. Stasha,
Yeah.
Stasha, do you think Poland can still qualify for the second stage?
We've got a big hope, David,
Yes.
and will be a very difficult game, of course, but we've got a big hope.
Who's the?
They've got a big hope.
They've certainly got a big hope.
How many of you will there be watching Poland-Germany?
Oh Jesus, many.
Okay. Including Jesus, by the sound.
Will that be something that you particularly, as Poles, will want to beat Germany more than any other team?
I think it was 1974. We qualified as third. We had third position on a World Cup in 1974.
But of course, the only reason you were at that World Cup is that you stopped England going.
Yes.
That's so. I'm not so sure that we should be celebrating that.
Maybe not.
Well, look, I've got big hopes myself that Poland might still qualify. What about you, Frank?
Well, if Germany win, will you go on the rampage around the town smashing up German cars?
Probably
They'll
not.
smash up German cars, but then they'll clean up afterwards, so it'll be fine.
I don't want Dorota to lose her rag. That's what she's going to clean my house with.
I understand, by the way, that Dorota, that you've been given the 3 weeks off from cleaning Frank's house. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, well, I feel guilty now because I should have given Stash the time off, but my family are back in London. You, of course, have no family.
No,
You
well,
are
that's
barren.
true. Dorota is my family, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that you're going to inherit my wealth, of
No,
course.
That's going to come to me.
Well, look, I really hope you enjoyed it. We were very much back in Poland.
Oh, yes.
No, we weren't back
back
in
in,
Poland.
but
We
no.
were backing Poland
Yeah.
because of you. So we'll
Yeah.
be sticking up for Poland against Germany. And
Yeah.
good luck.
Yes, good luck. What's Polish for good luck?
Powodzenia.
Powodzenia.
Yeah, exactly. Well, powodzenia to you,
Yeah.
and we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you see this thing about Jamie Carragher's dad getting very drunk and causing a lot of trouble at the England Hotel.
I heard about it. I didn't read that bit.
Well, I haven't got
Gary,
the bit.
isn't it?
Gary Carragher, yeah, he's 53, only a couple of years older than you, but still drinking, unlike you.
Yeah,
and
that's why I stopped.
And he went out with a few of his mates. He got very drunk and he started swearing, according to the papers. But the great thing about Gary Carragher is that he was in court about a year ago. When he was found being drunk in the Players' Lounge at Liverpool, right? And they tried to ban him for life, I believe, from football grounds. And his defence was that he wasn't drunk. The steward just took his Scouse accent for drunkenness. The steward had completely misunderstood and thought, oh, he's slurring his words, he's completely drunk. And he said, no, that's just my very Scouse accent.
You'd think a steward at Anfield would have maybe come across that before.
Exactly, yeah, just a bit.
I think it's really nice that Jamie Carragher brought his dad. There's something lovely about it.
I'm not absolutely sure that Jamie brought his dad. I think his dad may just have come.
Do you think Jamie Carragher didn't tell him about the World Cup and hope he hadn't picked up on it?
I think that might be what happened,
Said,
yeah.
I'm just going away for a month.
Yeah.
You're not going to the World Cup, are you? No. What World Cup? I'm not even in the squad. I'm in the squad. That's what it says in the paper. I don't... You can imagine it, can't you?
Yeah. Well, perhaps I
People that are listening think, is Frank drunk? The weird thing about being at the World Cup, though, although obviously it's brilliant, is that all the TV coverage you watch is in German, so you don't know what they're on about, and you can't get the papers. And when you're at the game, you're kind of watching the game, but you never know all the ins and outs about what's going on.
Yeah, so we just have to speak to people after the game and get a sort of sense of what happened from them.
Yeah, well, we send Roach to talk to them, but the thing is, sometimes that can be a bit confusing.
Well, it was after the England-Paraguay game.
Oh, God, yeah.
What did you think of the game?
It was horrible. It was a horrible match, really.
Any particular highlights?
No, actually no.
What did you think of the game?
Yes, it was a little bit boring, but it was interesting.
Really poor. Well, it's the first half, but we was playing far too deep. Yeah, but, well, you know, we brought on, well, you know, subs, you know, I don't think it changed it that much.
What do you think of the atmosphere here today?
Fantastic.
It was a really good one. It was a friendly atmosphere. And that's the most important thing.
What do you think of the atmosphere today?
Really poor.
Is that a mate of yours?
He had a terrible time, too.
I love the fact that, I should say that we didn't just play that again, he did actually say really poor.
He did. The thing was, he had a mate with him who was also, I think, I can't tell if he's Brummy or Black Country, but he had a mate with him who argued. But the trouble is, we were going to play it, but you couldn't tell which one was which.
We just had like one bloke. Can we hear that, Roachy? Just the rest of that bloke talking and his mate.
Really poor. But I didn't think it was. Yeah, I thought we really brought a load of crowds. Yeah, but I don't think it was that good. Yeah, but we all... Based on the lads here.
That's the kind of conversation I imagine happens every day in the Black Country. Two people not quite understanding what they've said and then someone shouting, England!
I'll tell you what, it sounds like a very bad sort of Black Country vent act.
Yeah.
But he can't do a different voice.
Yeah,
it was really poor. What do you think it was? Well, I did.
It just sounded to me like it conjured up in my mind the image of some two-headed monster, both with your head.
Oh.
What I'm pleased about, though, is that... in the last podcast, we spent a lot of time laughing at the German accent at a bloke that we spoke to who said Britisher.
Yeah.
And now we've kind of redressed the balance by laughing at the Black Country accent.
Yeah, really poor. We got quite a lot of emails this podcast. Good, that, because I think it's nice, it's interactive.
It's great. And apparently there's loads and loads of people writing into the site. We can only read out a few of them, but keep them coming anyway.
No, it's great, that. I really feel like we're one united, happy football family. This one is from Le Baron.
Yeah?
Le Baron. And he
is
said,
it Le Baron Knights?
It will be. And it says, anybody notice that the pattern on the ball being used for the World Cup resembles David Baddiel?
Yeah. Now, actually, I have to say that you did tell me about this, and I couldn't understand what he was talking about. And then we had a look at it, the ball.
Well, funnily enough, that picture of Arjen Robben in the Times the other day, with a picture of his goal, you can see that. What you have to do, you have to hold the ball in such a way that it looks like a pair of glasses on the top with eyes, and then like a black goatee.
That's the key, because it looks like it's got a goatee, as well. I'm a bit worried about it, in fact, 'cause I think if I go to a game now, a player might kick me in the head.
You might get your head kicked in.
Well, I probably will get my head kicked in, almost definitely, but not by a footballer, I wasn't thinking.
I found myself watching a few games now, and I'm watching the ball, and it's rolling, and I'm going, Dave, and going, Dave.
Oh, no.
The thing is, it looks like it's got odour eaters on it.
Yes. Well, yeah. Didn't you say to me the other day, something about the Odour-Eater's Ball, and I thought you said the Overeater's Ball, and I thought you were inviting me to some kind of charitable dance
big
thing
dance
that I should perhaps go to, being a fat bloke.
Yeah, you and Johnny Vegas.
Yeah, Johnny Vegas should go. But some people who've got clinical obesity. It's a good idea for a dance.
I think it's a very cockeyed idea that if you put Odour-Eaters on a ball, that won't smell in some way.
That does look. I don't know if people don't quite know what we're talking about, but there are panels on this ball because it's not
They'll
stitched
have to
together.
look at the ball.
It's not stitched together in the normal way, is it?
We're
It's
not
all...
spoon feeding them on this show. Look at the ball. It's
If you
on the telly
imagine
every
them,
night.
if you imagine them peeled off those panels and,
Yeah.
and put in your shoe, that's what you mean, isn't it? Oh God, yeah. How do
Wow.
Odour-Eaters actually work, by the way? If you've
Well,
got very
there's
smelly feet.
carbon, you see. The carbon kills the nasty sweat. We used to live with a guy at university in halls of residence who smelt terrible. And one of the other guys who lived there, for a prank, sent a letter to Odour-Eaters in this guy's name,
Oh yeah.
asking if they could make him an Odour-Eaters suit.
Did they do that?
Well, no, they sent back and said it was quite difficult to stitch and they didn't feel the seams would be strong enough and that. And he was really upset. We thought it was like a gag.
Yeah.
But he just got this letter from Odour-Eaters saying, your Odour-Eaters suit. Not really practical. And oh, man.
No, but that's a brilliant joke, I think. I read something about the ball, by the way, which I
Yeah?
can't remember exactly what it was, but basically David Beckham. The ball's made by Adidas, isn't it? Yeah.
Probably.
Ball's made by Adidas, and David Beckham, who is Adidas, who is one of their people, said, "Oh, it's a great ball. It's lovely to kick, lovely. The flight's super." And then Roberto Carlos, who is Nike,
Right.
said, "Oh no, I don't like it, mate. It's rubbish. The ball. No, get another one. Perhaps one made by Nike."
Yeah.
They were total company men in their attitude to the ball.
Yeah, but I've become like that with the Dodge Caliber.
You have a bit.
You know, we had a black Rolls-Royce Phantom turn up the other day, and I said, "Oh, not for me. Have you not got a nice Dodge Caliber?"
With a nice fridge.
Oh, God, the fridge.
Yeah.
What I do sometimes when I'm driving one is I just open the glove compartment, and just let the cold air come out.
It's like you don't even have to use air conditioning. You just use the fridge.
It's colder than air conditioning.
Is it?
Oh, God, I tell you, my scrotum was like a corduroy cap. I know Tourette's syndrome has become quite fashionable
Since
through
Big
Big
Brother.
and stuff, but I've got what I would call mild Tourette's, in that I found myself saying things. And one thing I have...
I'd call it quite severe.
Well, yeah, but I have it with footballers as well, so that if a footballer's name is mentioned, often if I say something which I think is slightly comical, I'll say it 5 million times every time that name is mentioned.
Well, I remember during the last World Cup, I was certainly the World Cup in 1998 when Papan, in fact, whenever Papan
Yes.
was mentioned, you had to look out the windows of a car and just backfire.
No, what I used to do...
Is that what you were doing?
He'd say Papan, I'd look out the window and say to you, "Did you order a car?" Like it was
was
blasting the horn.
And there's a bloke called Pardo, who
Plays for Iran.
Is it Iran or Mexico? Mexico, I think.
Oh, is it?
Plays for Mexico.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Did you ever think that? Yeah, well, you said that about 10 times during the game.
No, what I said during the game was every time he said Pardo, I didn't say anything.
But one thing that I don't have this as bad as you, but one thing I did have very badly was when Ledley King first appeared, I couldn't work it out because I thought surely his name is Leslie. I'd never heard the name Ledley before. But some of you may remember that we had a bloke called Teofilo Cubias on fantasy football.
Great
He's a
Peruvian
player who scored against Scotland in I think what World Cup, 1978 World Cup. And we got him to say the line. I won't explain why. It's too complicated to explain why.
It's
but
a reference to the Blue Peter presenter.
yeah, we got him to say the line, "Oh, Leslie Judd has left us with egg on our faces." Only he actually said, "Oh, Ledley Judd has left us with egg on our faces," which I had a lot of problems with at the time.
Oh man, we
But
fell
now,
about.
when Ledley King first appeared, I just, every time that we go Ledley King, I would say, "Ledley King has left us with egg on our faces."
I bet you there's loads of people who listen to this who say something every time a footballer's name was mentioned. That would be a good thing to send in.
Yeah, if you could send in things that you always say every time a footballer's name is mentioned, that'd be brilliant. Send it to www.baddielandskinner.com or to the Times Online one. Roachy, perhaps you'd like to tell us?
www.timesonline, or one word.co.uk, and then click through from the front page to our little mini site.
Oh, Ledley Judd.
Roachy sounded like he was underwater for the last bit of that. It's like he's on the same line as the bloke who phoned from Heathrow.
What's happened is all the FIFA water has ended up in Roachy's face.
In his throat.
Accidentally, yeah.
Just nestling in the back of his throat.
Yeah.
That's what happened to John Barnes, maybe. That number again, www.times.
Is someone banging on metal?
Sorry I'm late.
Oh, hello, Morrissey.
The traffic was a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is there still time to do my song?
No, we've had Antony and the Johnsons. He's done the football comment today. Sorry about that. Well, okay, don't worry. Look, what I've done is I've written a song and you could join in on that because it's a bit like a Smiths song, in a way.
I'm not with the Smiths anymore. I'm a solo artist.
Yeah, all right. Well, look, don't worry about that. Just join in where the bits I've marked, right? And
Okay.
see how we get on, all right? Okay. English girl, why aren't you on the screen? Is it because you look like Big Roy Keane? English girl, there's an issue with your face, but there's nothing wrong with a little bit of paste. Brazilian girls, French girls, Spanish and German, they're all up there looking like Uma Thurman. But English girl, they seem to have passed. Is it because you've got a big fat ass? English girl, there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I'd like to wear it as a hat. Girls from the US, Angola and Japan. Is it just in England that woman looks like man? English girl, why aren't you on the screen? I love you even though you're never seen. Even if you're tangerine. Even if you've got a faulty gene.
A faulty gene.
All right, it's competition time again, and as you may know, if you've been listening so far, you can win a Dodge Caliber. What we want you to do is identify a series of mystery voices. They're all footballers, and they've all played in the World Cup.
No, let me pull you up on that, because we had an email from someone called the Dog's Bollock.
Is that his
singular
proper name? Do you think I just one bollock?
Yeah, the Dog's Bollock. And
someone who's having quite a good time, but not that good a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Dog's Bollock said, I'm curious to know whether the squad made up from the mystery voices in the competition will the 15 be made up from the expected number of strikers, midfielders, defenders, goalies, or is the competition more random than that?
Well,
no.
I really am upset at the suggestion that we wouldn't be putting together a proper squad. Who does he think we are, this Dog's Bollock?
No, it is a proper squad. We've already had 3 strikers, the first 3, and tonight is the 4th striker.
Yes.
And there'll be a goalkeeper and the usual defenders and
Now,
midfielders.
this one I think is quite tough. You have to listen very carefully.
Well, I've given him a slight clue that it's a striker, but apart from that, I'm afraid you're on your own.
So hardcore football fans, this is one for you.
This is Mystery Voice number 4.
Cleanly Judd has left us with egg on our faces.
Okay, so with us now is Dan Finkelstein from the Times, who is the... Finkelstein, of course, from the Times.
Stein, not Stein.
No, I have to say Stein.
Okay.
I'm in Germany. Who, as some of you will know, is the man in the Times who does football predictions on a very scientific basis.
Yeah, with lots and lots of complicated statistics. How are you, Dan?
I'm very well, thank you very much indeed.
You enjoying the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm trying to complicate all the simple things as much as I can.
So England-Paraguay, did that go as your computer would have predicted?
Well, it was a pretty tough tie, actually. We said it was a 55% chance for England to win, but 1-0 was actually the most likely score. That was a 12% chance of that, so that was the most likely single score.
Right.
So what about Trinidad and Tobago? How do you see that going statistically?
Well, it's an 85% chance of winning. And
wow.
Both 2-0 and 3-0 are the most likely scores, and it's unlikely that they'll score. Those are famous last words, aren't they?
Well, I tell you what's weird about that is I would have thought, and you won't have any statistics for this, it was probably about the same for Sweden beating them, wouldn't you say?
It was 80%.
80%, yeah. So that's pretty odd, isn't it?
Well, something that could happen 20% of the time, which is Sweden not winning, does happen 1 in 5 times.
Yes, well,
but just to put it into perspective, they are 85th overall in our rankings, and we're 8th. So this is a game we absolutely should win, and we've now got a 97% chance of qualifying. And that one goal pretty much took us through into the knockout stage.
Yeah.
Well, that's fabulous news.
Yeah.
Now, according to your calculations, you and the boys on the computer, who should be in the England team?
Well, to start off with, we wouldn't pick anyone we hadn't seen and had absolutely no figures on, like Theo Walcott. But the most obvious omission is Darren Bent. He is definitely better not only according to us, incidentally, but also the Premiership's official rankings, better than Peter Crouch. And in fact, in both cases, we think he's better than Wayne Rooney. So it was a very odd decision to leave him behind.
So statistically, Darren Bent is a better striker than Wayne Rooney?
Yes, we did this by looking at every on-field move they made during the Premiership season, attaching to it a statistical value, and then trying to work out how many points they added compared to an average player in their position.
So what about Jermaine Defoe? Would he have got into your
Jermaine Defoe
squad?
would have gone into the squad as well. And the only sort of real oddity we would have picked is as a defender, we would have picked Ian Pearce of Fulham.
Ian
but
Pearce.
incidentally, we'd also picked Sol Campbell ahead of Rio Ferdinand.
Right. I don't know if you take it this far, but it looks like, following your 97% chance, that England will probably win the group and then face Ecuador. You wouldn't have any statistics on us winning that game, would you?
I would, yeah. It's a 53% chance we'll face Ecuador and a 70% chance that we'll win that game.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
That's fabulous news. There's one thing I have to ask you before we go. Should Peter Crouch be in the England team, and where does he rate in the Premiership?
We think that he loses points compared to the average player. I can't understand why Sven picked him. Most of his picks are very similar to the picks the computer would have given us.
So where does Crouchy rate in the Premiership?
311.
311?
Oh my God!
That's against all players, not just forwards.
Yeah.
Well, that's all very, very interesting stuff, and quite optimistic stuff, actually. I feel quite good about it now. I felt good in my heart, but now the computer backs me up. That's a fabulous thing. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
See you soon. As we've recorded this podcast, or most of it at least, we've been watching France-Switzerland on the telly with the sound down.
Yes, we have, yeah.
And the referee in that game really looks like Hugh Hefner, the
he
play-by. But I tell you, one of the joys of doing a kind of audio football show is that you don't have any lookalikes and no funny hairstyles.
No, it's brilliant that we don't have to bother with that.
Oh, that's such a wonderful thing.
It is
'cause
brilliant.
all the football comedy you ever see is weighed down with funny hairstyles.
Although I have noticed.
Lookalikes.
I'm gonna
Don't spoil it. Fight it.
Oh, I want to say
Go on then.
that Jurgen Klinsmann looks like Patrick Kelty.
I think that's a bit flat. I think Jurgen Klinsmann is about 5 years away from looking like Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, like a cross between Arsene Wenger and Patrick Kelty.
If they had the fly machine, that thing that Jeff Goldblum got stuck in when he became half man, half fly, if he'd gone in there and Arsene Wenger and Patrick Kelty was in, that's what would have come out as Jurgen Klinsmann.
You see, now we're doing it. Anyway, it's been a great podcast. The next podcast, the England Trinidad and Tobago special,
yes.
That's what it'll be, will be available to download on Friday the 15th of June.
I think, isn't it the 16th on Friday?
The 16th of June.
Oh, what a pro.
Listen to the unofficial voice of World Cup 2006, brought to you by Times Online and Avalon in association with the Dodge Calibre.